Well, obviously, CTV is growing at unbelievable leaps and bounds. We've finally reached that sea change of the industry where connected TV is really becoming the focal point of our partners and of the large media conglomerates that we work with, which is incredibly exciting. It is starting to penetrate, reaching over 200 million homes, which is an astounding number. And what we're seeing is, it's now becoming mainstream. It's no longer this side project that folks are working on at organizations. This is now the focal point of organizations. And for folks who, like me, have been working in the space for quite a while and trying to put this all together, it's all starting to really happen now. The buy side is certainly welcome to CTV and the power that it brings. And of course, the partners, as I mentioned, are just enjoying the growth of the space.
Tell us what the opportunity is and what sort of operational elements are involved with making CTV a suitable, valuable, efficient buy in the political arena.
The first thing is how important it is in the one-to-one targeting of connected TV. And that brings me to addressable advertising and how important the precision of connected TV advertising is. In difference to linear advertising. That's the most important. And additionally with that, it's that connected TV reaches those young, hard to reach, tech savvy, socially active, highly influential consumers that traditional television has been trying to reach but really can't anymore. So with that, with the growth of the cord cutters and the cord nevers, CTV is really just an incredible option. And now just being able to pinpoint your advertisements and, as I said, address, there's just incredible opportunities for the political arena.
So not to get too deep in the weeds, but what does addressability look like and how do you do it and how do you target the right voters?
Yeah, so let me hone in on to your question about political. So what you can do with addressable is every single ad in CTV, as I said, is one-to-one advertising. So every single ad can be addressed. You can bring data to each individual impression. Therefore, you can target just Republicans, just Democrats, or whatever the buyer wants to choose or to hone in on. Addressable advertising can go ahead and handle that. Additionally, there's no waste. So every single impression is targeted and you don't have to bleed into different states. So when a candidate is running in just New York, well, in the traditional TV space, most of your ads, unless you're going through a set-top box or a direct-to-home delivery like satellite, most of the TV ads would bleed into 3 or 4 states of the DMA. If a candidate is just running in New York, if you're getting out of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, et cetera, those are wasted impressions. Connected TV, you only can hone in on or only need to hone in on New York for your impressions. Additionally, you can go regional, you can go tighter. You could find just specific voters with addressable. So it's the precision and it's the ability and the capability to deliver just to where you want to deliver, no wasted impressions. And then, of course, the return, the information, if you add attribution to your buy to actually prove that it worked, to prove it you delivered, you can't beat that anymore.
So what is the opportunity for you guys and for the CTV world more broadly in light of sort of some of the problems with social media? We've heard a lot, of course, about Facebook, and they're not actually doing advertising around politics. What is the opportunity and also the benefit, I guess, in a CTV environment?
Yeah, so what we found in the political study that we're releasing is that social media just brings negative connotations. We found that 3 to 1 negative terms when we brought up social media to the panel of the group that we talked the study to, brought up words such as social media reminds them of untrustworthy, deceitful. And when we see stuff like that, we know that the importance of connected TV and delivering to top tier premium content where your political ad can be housed around trusted content is so important versus, again, kind of those bad connotations of social. So it's really the understanding of where your ad is running against or housed around and the environment that it is. It's brand appropriate, non-brand destructive environments. And that's what's so important of connected TV and kind of the power of that versus social media and the negative connotations it brings for your advertisements. You got to know what you're buying.
Adam, and it's a unique election now, no question, on so many levels. There's the pandemic, there's voting by mail, There's a lot of switching and changing of attitudes. Swing states may be in play that weren't. Tell us about sort of the value of the CTV offering in this kind of very dynamic political climate.
Yeah, so I think the first thing you mentioned, Andy, is kind of about how this year more than ever, mail-in voting will probably see a large amount of that. It's the fact that voters will probably do more mail-in voting because of COVID, and they could vote at least 45 days before Election Day. What does that do to advertisers? Well, it absolutely reorganizes their budget timelines and changes their buying structure. They can't front load budgets. They can't target 1 or 2 weeks before the election. They have to be more understanding and flexible and agile, which what programmatic brings and also connected TV brings, which, by the way, the connected TV environment, over 55% of the advertisements are now running through programmatic means, which says more about how the political advertisers can utilize programmatic to help them through, as we talked about, reaching voters during mail-in voting times. I think the other thing to talk about there, Andy, is that there are more, and what we learned in our study, the independent and undecided voters. We've put them together in what we call, or what's called persuadable voters, and we really honed in on that. And we're finding that over 40% of those persuadable voters, which the advertisers are trying to reach, no longer have cable or satellite. They're the cord cutters or the cord nevers. So it makes CTV so much more important this year. And the final thing I would say is, why is this year different more than ever in political? Well, obviously that there are no, there's no shaking hands. There's no going door to door. The candidates are not able to do the conventions and the big meetings, which brings more attention and more validity to connected TV, to find the Gen Zs, to find the millennials, to find the highly influential consumers, because candidates can't go out and get them and reach to them. So it says more about CTV. What we saw is that 75% of voters prefer video for their political ads, which brings more importance to CTV during this year, particularly because the candidates aren't out there meeting the voters.
Adam, tell us what your thoughts are about the state of CTV, sort of opportunities for Magnite, and more broadly, where things are going and perhaps impacted by the current election cycle.
So CTV growing leaps and bounds, Andy, an incredible opportunity for us at Magnite and really for the industry at large. What we're seeing is obviously a huge growth, more cord cutting at a rapid pace. We're seeing more services coming out leaps and bounds, and these are coming from major media companies that have a lot of marketing power behind them to go ahead and make CTV mainstream. But with that said, we have just scratched the surface in terms of the avails, in terms of the advertising opportunities. Keep in mind, Andy, that most of the partners we work with, most of the media companies, are not dynamically inserting ads into a large amount of their networks or their the inventory that's available in CTV. So there is still a huge amount of advertising opportunities to come in the space. Huge opportunity for us at Magnite, huge opportunity for the business. Additionally, with that said, programmatic is growing at leaps and bounds. So 55%, as I mentioned, of connected TV inventory is actually handled through programmatic means, through automation. That should only continue to grow because of its agility, its speed, its capabilities. So another opportunity for us at Magnite as we look at that. In addition with that, the data infused buying, the power that brings to the space is only going to grow as these networks start to now see how important addressable is, that they can begin to targeting that many of them weren't able to do in the traditional TV space because of the programmer to operator capabilities. Now the programmers will have, or will open up the capabilities to start addressing ads and understand and learn their audience much more than they ever were before. That's tremendously important. What political will do to all this will probably accelerate that. 4 years ago, I remember that addressable advertising in TV was just starting to boom, and Dish and ComScore had some nice numbers coming out of that election. Well, now more and more addressable will be happening this year than we've ever seen, and that should be a tremendous opportunity this year compared to any other election year. Bring in all that, bring in what Magnite is in terms of our company, where we brought the power, the precision, and premium content of CTV from Telaria, together with the experience of programmatic, the scale, and the products expertise of Rubicon Project together. Great opportunity for us to really start to blow out connected TV, as well as omnichannel buying as that continues to grow in the future. So we're looking at this, Andy, as not only continuing to grow the connected TV space as it grows and being leaders there, but also how to find the audience on any platform at any time, whether it's connected TV, audio, digital out of home, any means of video, anywhere you can find where there's a piece of glass, we want to be there and be able to serve those ads with the agility of programmatic. So huge opportunity for us as the entire space grows. And it's just an exciting time for our industry. Unfortunately, with COVID, we're in some very difficult times, but we'll get out of this as an industry. And it just says a lot about what's to come in the future.